What is happening? Let's go. Tigers win. Fuck Florida. All week hearing all shit, all kinds of bullshit. LSU sucks. You suck. You suck. Bullshit. We're back. Jayden Daniels went absolutely off tonight. Listen, for all of you who have been ragging the offense, ragging Jayden Daniels, so on and so forth, guys, sometimes it takes time to get going. Pooh Bear, how many times this week do I say that LSU is this close from busting it wide open offensively? I know I said it on Gator Dave's show. I know I said it on here. Jayden Daniels and this offense went off. Some nights you're going to have, and your defense is going to struggle. Bottom line, tonight your defense struggled against a really good and mobile quarterback in Anthony Richardson. Florida can run the football, but you held on. Special teams, I mean, another muffed punt by Jack Besh. But when you absolutely needed your special teams unit in the fourth quarter, they prevailed. What a win for LSU. Tip of the cap to Jayden Daniels, tip of the cap to Brian Kelly, who I was told this past Tuesday, Brian Kelly was going to be more involved in the offense and play calling. It looked like it helped. You know who it certainly helped? Jayden Daniels. Guys, they didn't run anything that they haven't run all season. It was the timing of it, the rhythm of it. The offensive line did absolutely fantastic. Josh Williams running hard. John Emery catching the ball out of the backfield. This is the offense that LSU was expected to have. Kayshon Boutte, whatever you want to call him, went absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Glenn Guilbeau, where's your ass at? Glenn Guilbeau, oh shit, that's a close score. Glenn Guilbeau, where is your ass at? Talked all that shit about Brian Kelly and that LSU should have hired Billy Napier. Where's all the guys saying Billy Napier, our guy? Where are they? On the road, in the swamp, and you absolutely dominated offensively. Defensively, you got to get better. But where's Glenn Guilbeau at? Writing all these articles about how Brian Kelly sucks. Where's your crazy ass at now? But this offense went absolutely bananas tonight. Jayden Daniels went 23 of 32 for 349 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And Blake, he threw an interception on the roughing the passer. It's a penalty. It's a penalty. Josh Williams, this is where you guys, Josh Williams, 14 carries, 106 yards, 0 TDs. But Jayden Daniels, 14 carries, 44 yards, 3 tutties. The man accounted for 6 total touchdowns. What a game by this offense. You cannot take it away from the offensive performance by the Tigers here tonight. Whatever you asked them to do, they did it. Fourth quarter game getting tight, doesn't matter. Jayden Daniels goes 72% of completion percentage, 350 yards. Let's round him up a yard. 3 tutties through the air and 3 tutties on the ground. Where's my bring in? Excuse me. Where's these people at? Hold on. Let me find it. Where's these people at? Joshua Forbes, Nuss Bus. Guys, again, sometimes you have to be patient. LSU moves to 5-2. Massive, massive game. Hell Mendoza sends $5 via Super Chat. He said, Kayshon went crazy, baby. I'm hyped for my guy. Defense needs some work, though, but bumped it 5-2, baby. Yeah, let's look at Kayshon's numbers here. And thank you for the Super Chat, Pooh Bear, if we can scroll down to the receiving. Kayshon Boutte was your leading receiver. 6 catches, 155 yards. Yes, you would love to have given Kayshon a tutty, but Kayshon prevailed, man. Yes, he had a drop late. Didn't matter. There was a lot of passes that Jayden Daniels reeled in. Okay, that, there were hot throws, hot route throws. Kayshon went off tonight. Kayshon went absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Everybody do us a favor and hit the like and share, by the way. Stop what you're doing. Hit the like and share. So many of you on Facebook. Like and share to those Facebook groups, your own social media pages. If you're on YouTube, please hit that like and share. Twitter, hit that retweet as well. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Royce Pierce sends us $19.99 via Super Chat. He says, shout out to the team for not giving up after a tough loss. Guys, this game, a lot. Guys, in football, in sports, in history, things repeat themselves. And Royce, I appreciate the Super Chat, brother. And I agree. And I'm going to get to Royce's point here. History repeats itself so many times in athletics. Guys, so many years ago, 6 years ago, not so many years ago, 6 years ago, 2017, you lose to Troy. Then the following week, you go to Gainesville and you win. Now, the Tennessee loss doesn't look as bad, does it? You just played one of, and let me tell you this, Pooh, I'm writing. So, guys, you know that we're sponsored by Believe. We're part of Believe. I'm sure, you know, Pooh Bear, and then we'll have an announcement coming up soon. Not going to say anything. But nevertheless, okay, on my top 10, Tennessee's going to be the number one team in the country. Yes, I get you lost to them, but you respond. You go 5-2. Guys, getting to that 8-4 mark looks a lot more feasible now, doesn't it? God damn it. I didn't like that game either. Talking Mississippi State's down 17-27 to Kentucky. I said it early this morning, Pooh. I didn't like that game for them. But regardless, it looks a lot better now. Thank you, Adam, for the Canadian Super Chat, $6.99. You can do it. To start off the game, look, you give up the touchdown, the first attempt. So, guys, Florida opened up the game with 1 throw and 11 straight runs. Okay? You give up 7. But on LSU's first opening drive, Boutte goes for 9, Williams for 6, zone read. Jayden does a little shuffle pass to Taylor for a first down. Then you go to John Emery twice in the flat, first for a first down, and then obviously you would go down for the score. Zone read would give you a TD in the next drive. Jayden Daniels, went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. The next drive, he'd go to Brian Thomas Jr. for a touchdown. Look, here's the thing. You wanted Jayden Daniels to absolutely uncork the ball. He did. And look, guys, look, I'm not even going to pull up Jayden Daniels' stats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 Tigers caught passes tonight. That's called spreading the wealth. Jeray Jenkins, the biggest 2 catches of the night. You have an offsides penalty. You're only up 7. Florida jumps off. Jayden hits him on the fade route, touchdown. Then there was the critical third down on Jayden Daniels' second touchdown run, where it was, I think, 3rd and 8. LSU hits Jeray Jenkins on a quick slant, 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. Talk about being absolutely massive. Brian Thomas, one of those catches, he should have 3 catches for 50 yards. He won't. The TD grab, holding on to the football, massive reception. Malik Neighbors getting him out in space, 4 catches, 48 yards. Absolutely impressive what the wide receiver corps did tonight. They, going into the season, we thought and knew that they were one of, if not the best units on the field, and they completely showed out tonight. Hats off to them as well. Penn Jones sends a $49.99 super chat. Oh, Penn, this is so sweet. I've been waiting to say this all night. He said, look like a typical DB back play, or DB backs, or DBs, play that Cory Raymond coached the last few years at LSU. Now he runs it at Florida. Doesn't it feel good? Remember when y'all said Cory Raymond the GOAT? They got their ass burned by a guy that you said to bench last week. Thank you, Penn, for the super chat. They got burned by Jayden Daniels, a guy that a lot of you last week said to bench his ass. Man, it kind of feels like Brian Kelly knows what he's doing, huh? Carlton Cisco says, Nussmeier truth or zip going to bed, Blake. What a performance by Jayden Daniels. I don't want to hear anything about Nussmeier the rest of the season. Jason Brumfield says, Tennessee versus LSU rematch in the championship. That's not going to happen. Stephen Fry, our good buddy over at Fry Construction, says, Tom Petty can suck the back of my Ralph Lauren drawers. Yeah, and look, listen, Florida defensively is not a bad team. They are not a bad team at all. But you came out in the first six drives that you had and scored touchdowns. Guys, the first six drives you had, probably the most impressive drive was when you went up 14. Jayden Daniels faced multiple third downs. And Pooh, I need to go to that. Let's go to that next. I want to see that third down percentage from LSU. JD ran for 0 yards. Malik Neighbors had a drop. Cole Taylor, 25 yards, first down on 3rd and 10. Josh Williams ran for 8 yards, 2nd and 2. Then all of a sudden, here comes Brian Thomas Jr. You take a shot. All right. Then the very next drive, John Emery for 10. Daniels to Neighbors for 15. Daniels would run for 2 yards. Then you would have the flag. And then the throw to Jeray Jenkins. I mean, man, they were in sync all night long. Give Florida a little bit of credit. They adjusted. Okay? But you got to give them credit, man. You got to give them credit. Cody McGee, since 1999, via Super Chat. Thank you, Cody. He says, Blake, do you think LSU will be possibly the SEC champion or in the SEC championship talk after Bama lost tonight? Not yet. Not yet. They don't need Besh on special teams. Can't have muffed punts every game. Special teams needs to improve, but overall good win. Thank you, Cody, for the Super Chat. Let me just say this, because I will say this and have said this since 2019, since we've been doing it. Guys, point blank, winning covers a multitude of sins. Special teams was horrendous again tonight. I don't know how they're going to fix it. Right? Like, I have no idea how they're going to fix it. Now, it got better when Clayton, 26, went back there. At least he could field some punts and field kicks. That's what you got to do, man. You're going to have to put him back there. You're going to have to put him back there. There is no other really things you can do. You know what's interesting? What's interesting, okay, is that you almost would be better. You almost would be better if you don't have someone back there fielding punts, unless that guy can field the punt, maybe like Clayton can. Don't get yards, just field the punt. But don't let it fool you. Next week you play Ole Miss, you cannot give Lane Kiffin multiple possessions. Got a massive game next week against the Rebels. At home, 2:30 primetime CBS. You have to be able to execute on special teams. OC on YouTube says, glad JD showed his arm off tonight. Sick of the fair weather fans talking trash. He's shown over and over he's a leader and LSU's best chance of winning. No doubt. No doubt. And thank you for the super chat. No doubt he is. No doubt he is. And here's what leaders do. Okay? 8 for 12 on 3rd down. 2 for 2 on 4th down. When you guys, this is the stat that if you win, you're going to win games. You're going to win football games. 528 total yards for LSU. Now, look, here's the crazy thing. LSU did not take their foot off the gas in the second quarter. They scored 14 points in the third. Yes, they only had 3 in the fourth, but they continued to put the pedal to the metal in the second half. Pooh, can we scroll down just a bit? This is what also wins you games. Yards per pass, 10.9. Guys, every time you throw the football, if you get 11 yards, you're going to win a lot of football games. Here's another place you win it. When you are able to throw the football like that and you can run for 5 yards per carry, 179 yards, you're going to win it. You're going to win it. Thank you, Zach Cotton, for the stars via Facebook. But that's how you win football games, man. That's how you win football games. So credit to them. Credit to them for being able to do that. Frozen Knight says Brian Polian needs to go. Man, I don't know what to say about special teams, Pooh, at this point, right? Like, I have no idea. I mean, the muff punt killed you. I mean, it killed you, and especially in momentum, okay? You just can't, guys, you cannot have, you just can't do that, man. You can't do that. You go into halftime, luckily LSU started off fast. Let's just, we'll talk a lot of special teams. Let's celebrate the victory here. Look, here's something that's interesting that we talked about a lot too throughout the week and really all year. LSU needed and had to start off fast. I'm happy that they came out and started off fast. They win down early, 7-0. They respond. I like that Brian Kelly, who does not like to defer to the second half, he changed things up. Guys, that's what good coaches do. Every single time LSU has won the opening coin toss, they have elected to receive. I am glad that Brian Kelly decided to defer to the second half. You came, and really and truthfully, guys, when you came out in the second half and you scored a touchdown, it kind of is where you put a stamp on, all right, LSU has a really good chance of winning this football game. LSU came out in the second half, a 51-yard run from Josh Williams, breaking tackles left and right, refusing to go down. Daniels ran for 14 yards, first and goal, and then a 7-yard run from Jayden Daniels. Guys, they ran legitimately 75 yards on that drive for a score. Now, that could be a little bit concerning because 75 yards of this number right here, you did have 75 yards on one drive of 179 rushing yards, but nevertheless, you still did it. You still did it. And you got to be able, when you have a mobile quarterback like that, you're so versatile. Guys, and another point on that, and the only reason that Florida came back was because of Anthony Richardson running for 81 yards and a touchdown. By the way, you got to tackle better. You got to tackle better. Point blank, period. And look, we'll talk a lot of defense this week. You cannot, if you think Billy Napier can light you up, shit. Next week's going to be just as tough. So you're going to have to fix some things. But at least you have your offense rolling in a good direction, right? Ryan W says, I think BK could beat up Kiff Jr. He may be able to do that. He may be able to do that. Greg Dyke on Facebook says, Blake, you said if LSU rose for over 150 yards, they would win. I did, and they did. And look, I did not. I'll be honest. I did not expect for Jayden Daniels to look as crisp as he did, but man, did he look crisp. He looked really good. And a lot of you are going to have to eat crow. Now, he did some things that he normally doesn't do, and he forced the ball down the field, and it worked for him. He also didn't have that many drops either. So hats off to Jayden in doing that, and hats off to the wide receivers in doing that. But you knew he had it. You knew he had it. That's just the God's honest truth. AJ says no pauses tonight. Yeah, we clapped absolute gator cheeks. You know, like, shoot him. Well, we shot him. Lance Hill says, F Tim Tebow and his picking bullshit. I don't know what that means, but I love it. Is Glenn Gilbo in the chat? No, this isn't Glenn Gilbo. This is Ryan. I can tell by that spiky ass hair. Ryan on YouTube says tied for second place in the SEC West at the moment. Well, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, no, you're not, because Ole Miss would take over number one, and you only have one loss. Well, yeah, and I guess did Mississippi State lose tonight, Pooh? Have they lost yet? Yeah, they did lose. Oh shit! Wait, so LSU's tied for second in the West with Alabama? Wait, they're tied for second in the West with Alabama. Mississippi State lost.
Mm-hmm. Mississippi State now.
Okay, well, you're on the screen. You're on the screen.
Oh, I didn't. I was looking at the what's called it. Yeah, Mississippi State lost.
You look like old boy from Gladiator. You know,
Yeah.
like he does this. Okay.
Mississippi State lost 27-7. Yeah,
my bad. They lost 27 to what?
17.
Okay.
I told a lot of people Levis is coming back. Listen, I don't know a lot of stuff, but if I tell you it's Easter, you better color your eggs.
Okay. Hal says stop making excuses for the players when they muff. Somebody please tell me when I made an excuse for Jack Besh. I hadn't made one excuse for Jack Besh. Jack's got to catch the football, guys. That's just the bottom line. The bottom line is Jack Besh has to catch the football, and he's not going to be back there. Speaking of Jack Besh, Brian Kelly just said in his postgame press conference, Jack Besh had a strain in his lower back and tightened up again. Yeah, Yeah, I believe that. I believe that for sure. Ryan said Harold Perkins should be homecoming king. Look, man, they're going to have to figure something out with Harold Perkins. I get that Greg Penn and Micah Baskerville are doing great things, but look what happens when Harold Perkins is in the game, man. I mean, that ball at the end of the game that it looked like Anthony Richardson fumbled, that's a fumble. I mean, you got to find ways to just get Harold Perkins in the game, because I'll tell you this. You got to get him on critical second and third downs. He's better right now than Ali Gay locking down an end. Now, can he do that on run downs? And will teams run at him? Probably, maybe. But, man, you got to find a way to get 40 on the field. You got to. Let's do this, Pooh. I'm going to bring this up. Can we go to the individual stats for Florida? Let's scroll down. The one thing that I will say that I did not like at all, okay, Florida did run the football on us a little bit, guys. Anthony Richardson, obviously the 81 yards, but you can't give that up. Montrell Johnson, 13 carries, 57 yards. Guys, 4.4 yards per carry. I'll take that from any one of our backs any given day. Now, you did lock down Trevor Etienne a little bit, and then you had Lingard that had 3 carries for 16 yards. Guys, they ran the ball for 6.4 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns, and 210 yards. There were times in the first half we were getting pushed around defensively that you just cannot have. You cannot get pushed around like that. And listen, if you think, and I'll say this all week, if you think that rushing attack is good for them, wait till next week. Zach says on Facebook, without the muff punt, we win by 17. Yeah, but Andrew says you don't agree with us. What do you not agree with? Put it in there. What do you not agree with? He says there's no way we can say our D-line is top tier and miss so many tackles for loss. When did I say that they're top tier? Pooh, do I just say things and not remember them?
I think you misread that. He said, I do agree with you.
Oh, okay. I do agree with you. Okay. That's my fault. Andrew, I apologize. Otis on YouTube says, hey, Glenn Gilbo, what about Billy Napier with a $1.99 super chat? Yeah, you got to feel like a baby back bitch. You got to feel like a baby back bitch. If you're Gilho. You just do. Jake Cole says, if you want to give Jayden the INT on the penalty, then you got to give Perk the fumble that was called back. Yeah, you do. And look, it's a penalty's a penalty, man. A penalty's a penalty. I mean, by the letter of the law, Jayden Daniels had a penalty against him. He did exactly what you told him to do. Threw the ball down the field. There's nothing wrong with that. Richie Roche says, can Harold Perkins field punts? Kind of serious. Oh, God. Pooh, I don't know what they're going to do there. Guys, I have no clue. I have no clue. Let me say this, too. We got to give a shout-out to the offensive line here tonight, okay? LSU did – I thought the offensive line played really well. I think Emory Jones struggled early. I thought Anthony Bradford struggled a little bit early. But nevertheless, they played really extremely well. Jayden was decisive. He played with high anticipation. And, guys, they're coming together. And this is the progress that you want to see in a well-coached team. Guys, you have a lot of good coaches on that sideline. Mike Denbrock is a good coach. Matt House is still a really good coach. Give them time. They're going to adjust. They're going to make some things happen. Van Lathan says, baby! Yes, sir! I got new shoes on my ride. Man, if you're Cory Raymond, you got to feel like you got to feel bad, bro. Jake Ray says, I don't see how they overturned that fumble. That was BS, man. I agree. God, good googly moogly. Carol False, our good friend over at State Farm. Let's put his ad up here, Pooh, while we read this. He says, love the in-your-face F-bomb. Saban-like accountability. BK brings to the sideline a LSU win, and Alabama loss is a great day. Now go to the Saints tomorrow. We'll be there, Carol. Our good friend Carol Falls over at State Farm is with us every single week. Carol will be there. Thank you so much for the $99.99 super chat. Carol, hit me up if you're going to be there tomorrow. We'll be there. But he's right. I love when Jay Ward committed the penalty. I love the intense in your face intensity type of coach. I love it, man. I agree with Carol so much here. I agree. Absolutely fantastic. Guys, you're 5-2 with a chance to go 6-2 next week. You can beat Ole Miss. Guys, LSU can beat Ole Miss. King Ulysses says, yep, Clayton can fair catch it for the rest of the season. That's all you need. Thank you, Carol, for that super chat. It means a lot, brother. Father Aber says, our punt returners are like infielders right now. They don't want to be the next guy to make the mistake, hoping the ball doesn't come to them. It's tough, man. I've been there. Yeah, and I think Father Abear's right there. But you got to take the bull by the horns to some extent. Game getting close. To some extent, you got to take the bull by the horns, right? Like you got to be able to find somebody that can just hold on to the ball. And I get it from Jack's perspective, man. You're not playing a lot offensively. You want to try to make some plays. I love a good bourbon that burns. Nick Chasson says, great showing by the offense and perfect timing before Ole Piss next week. Absolutely. It's going to be an amazing showing, man. It's going to be an absolutely amazing showing, and we just got to find a way to win. Zach, who should probably be in the show, but's not, but he's commenting, says, Zach with his Tim Tebow haircut. Hey, Zach, does your haircut feel bad about losing tonight? He says, BK is the first coach to lead the Tigers to wins in Jordan Hare and the Swamp in the same season ever. Wow. Now that's a stat. That is a stat right there. Let me bring that back up. Okay. Let me bring that back up right quick, Pooh. BK, the first coach to lead the Tigers to wins in Jordan Hare and in the Swamp in the same season. Man, that's insane. That is absolutely insane. I didn't know that. Carlton says, Blake, don't even entertain the ignorance of our public. Yeah, and look, I gotta be for real here. I mean, look, Jayden Daniels deserves a lot of people owe him an apology. A lot of people owe Jayden Daniels an apology. And, it was always there. And look, here's another thing. And one thing that nobody will talk about, okay? You got to give Brian Kelly a lot of credit for not pulling him. I'm sure Brian Kelly felt the outside pressure, administration, staff, athletic director, maybe not, who knows, fan base, boosters, and you can't piss the boosters off in the NIL world, guys. You just can't. You can't piss off boosters in the NIL world. And good on Brian Kelly to know what he's got and know that Jayden Daniels can get the job done. Matt Morvant says, but LSU missed on Napier. No, they didn't. Guys, Brian Kelly is Brian Kelly. Love him, hate him, or not. And look, my in-laws, not or Megan's step-in-law, or our step-in-laws, her stepmom and son, her stepbrother are rabid Gator fans. Sucks for you. I don't care. You can hate Brian Kelly all the fuck you want to. I don't give a fuck if you hate him all you want. Don't matter to me. He clapped your cheeks. And he was, and I'm talking about the good clap, when like you're in rhythm. Clap them cheeks. This old vet says, I'll admit I was kind of down on him last week. Well, a lot of people will, but again, that's why you have a coach that makes $90 million guaranteed, guys. He's been here before. This isn't his first go around. We as fans, media, are so reactive to the news, right? Like, we're so reactive to the news. We don't, the funny thing is, okay, is we just try to find ways to think and blame one person. And, as much as we talk about Jayden Daniels in a loss, we should talk about him in a win. But what's funny, Pooh? What's hilarious? The people that were in here last week calling for his job, I haven't seen one comment for Edward O in the YouTube chat. Bullfrog, all these people. I hadn't seen comments from them. Nick Chasson says, Blake, how about them Golden Domers dropping another home loss to lackluster Stanford? Are their fans still talking now? But no, you best believe after this show, I'm going to give them everything I got. Fuck them. They talked all that shit last week about losing to Tennessee, and they lost to Stanford. They lost to Stanford and Marshall in the same season. LSU just goes on the road to Florida and wins. Insanity. Aunt Marshall says that Gator pack in the air. Very true, man. Very true. It is in the air. It is in the air. Everybody's laughing in here, Pooh, because I said, when you're getting a good clap on and you're in rhythm, pop, 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 pop. It's a good hip thrust. You got to be flexible, man. And that's what Jayden Daniels did to Florida, all DBs all night long. He was fucking them right in that. Bruh, I'm just telling you. Good rhythm. Good rhythm. Pooh Bear says Notre Dame is a 7-point underdog during the bye week. That's funny. That's funny. All right. Yeah, 7-point underdog. That's funny. Jonathan Broussard says you got to give a lot of credit to a lot of people, and especially the O-line. I agree. Look, the O-line pushed, and O-line did a lot of good things. When you have this stat right here, Josh Williams Josh Williams is your starting back, guys. You're just going to have to let John Emery come in and spell him. But 106 yards, 14 carries, got 7.6 yards per carry. Breaking tackles at 51 yard. It was half of his stuff. But, everybody tells me, you know what the dumbest argument of all time is? People will say, well, Anthony Richardson, you take everything else away from him, that 81-yard run, he doesn't have 100 yards. You take the 51-yard run away again, from Josh Williams, he doesn't have 100 yards. But, guys, he did. And you can't convince me one iota that Josh Williams didn't run his absolute ass off. Kid was just going bananas tonight, acting like he wants to be there. And you have to have those type of performances to win games like you just did. Like if there's one player that I want this team's heart to be at, like, it's Josh Williams. And Pooh, I got to be honest. I'll admit where I'm wrong. I got to be honest. I didn't think Kayshon Boutte had it in. Well, let me back up. I knew Kayshon Boutte had it in him. I didn't think he had it in him this season for LSU. I'll admit, man. I'll admit. Kayshon Boutte surprised me tonight, guys. A lot of people, myself included, had called him out and said, "Look, you got to pick it up." And look, I got to give Kayshon a lot of credit. I got to give Kayshon a lot of credit. He was there when it mattered most. He was there when it mattered most. He was there when you needed the big plays. You know what's funny, Pooh? You know what's funny? Did y'all notice this? When Jayden Daniels did throw that interception, you know who made the tackle, right? Kayshon Boutte. So you can talk about somebody being checked out, but guys, he's running down the field, making an open field tackle after an interception. He doesn't know that there's a flag thrown for roughing the passer. He's running down and making the tackle in the open field. I got to give Kayshon a lot of credit. Pooh says, want to talk an offense clicking. LSU only punted once. It's true. And only kicked one field goal. That's also true. Everything else was a TD and victory formation. Pooh, when you have 6 drives and you open the game 6 for 6, here's the truth. The only reason we're talking about this game being close, the offense could have coasted the rest of the way. Anytime you score 35 plus points, you should win every single game. You should win every single game. Donovan on YouTube sends a $4.99 via Super Chat. Thank you so much for sending us that, Donovan. He said, I said Daniels had to get it together in the passing game, but I also said if he ever puts it together, he'd be insane. Tonight proved. Absolutely. And and Donovan, to your point, we have to expect this from Jayden Daniels moving forward, right? You've seen it from him once. We got to see him continue to do that here on out. Here on out. Jason Brumfield said the guy Edward O's in Whiskey and Wine crying. Yeah, of course he is. Where's music at? Of course he's crying. Otis sends $1.99 via Super Chat. He says, I love Josh Williams' heart. If I want this team to mold themselves after one person, I swear to God, it's Jayden Daniels too. It's Josh Williams. The guy never gives up. He never gives up. Sharon on Facebook says, I'll be the first to say I didn't think the quarterback could perform the way that he did tonight. He can certainly throw the ball. Offense was exceptional. I'm glad a lot of people, look, and this will build Jayden Daniels' confidence too. You got to continue to do that, though. Let's not get this twisted. You got to continue to have this type of success. You got to continue to do what you're doing. I think that they will. But Jayden Daniels went off tonight. He went off. And remember when everybody was calling him Brandon Harris? Remember when everybody was calling him Anthony Jennings? You had people that would come in this chat and say that this man reminded you of Brandon Harris. Y'all stupid asses knew that man wasn't no Brandon Harris. Y'all's ass knew that man was not no Anthony Jennings. He's better. Ah, sweet bourbon. Man, if Megan wasn't 9 months pregnant, I swear to goodness. See, Pooh? Yeah. Anyway, Ryan on YouTube says, ask Miles Brennan about that hip thrust. Back shots all evening. Yeah, very true. Very true. Ben on YouTube says, Perkins and JD ran a cheek clapping train on Billy Boy. Yeah, Group 5 Billy, man. Group 5 Billy. Oh, shit. Rob Boudreaux sends 199 says music is in whiskey and wine too. Yeah, of course he is. People who hate Jayden Daniels to start off with. Kevin says USC 35, Utah 35, 11 minutes to go. Uh-oh, Pooh. Uh-oh. No. I know what you. No. Nope. Nope. She don't look, bro. She smelled me at the grocery store. She goes, I know your ass smelly. I'm like, Megan, I've been working outside all day. Dad Boy Go says, way to Kayshon, you balled out tonight. Yeah. And again, you got to give Kayshon a lot of credit, man. I mean, he went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I thought one thing I hadn't talked about here tonight so far, I thought that Mike Denbrock called one hell of a game. Like I said earlier, if you missed it, I was told that Brian Kelly was going to insert himself in the play calling duties. I think he did a little bit more tonight. Guys, this was a game that you had to win, and you did. I thought Mike Denbrock was in his bag tonight. They ran RPOs, they ran sluggos, they ran comeback routes. You know what the best route of the night was? Remember that Kyron Lacey catch along the sidelines when Jayden threw it before he was out of his break? God damn it, is that just beautiful? Damn it, is that beautiful, man? Denbrock was in his bag. And I bet you ain't nobody calling for his head now. Jason Brutfield says, give me that Tennessee versus LSU rematch in the SEC championship game. Let's take it one game at a time, guys. Let's take it one game at a time. I mean, you got a long way to go. Let's worry about next week first. Blaise LeBlanc says, I can't wait to see the offense we saw tonight and the defense we saw in the second half versus Mississippi State. If those two teams collide, here's the crazy thing about this team, man. And here's the crazy thing about Brian Kelly. If he can find a way to get both of those things to happen, guys, let me tell you this, you're a national title contender. Let me say this again, and a lot of people are going to rip me alive. If you can play defense a lot like you did in the second half against Mississippi State, and you play offense like you did tonight, you run the same plays, you have the same type of execution, guys, you're a national title contender. It can happen. I would love to see how Brian Kelly. I'm very eager to see, and I don't want to look forward. Okay, I really don't. I'm really eager to see this team against Alabama. I'm really eager to see what Brian Kelly can do in a bye week. Man said he wants to come here and beat Nick Saban. You think he's going on vacation? There's so many lies, too, about Brian Kelly. So many people talking about how, Brian Kelly's not around the team. He lets his staff, be around us. No shit. I saw Matt, the mayor kid, talk about that shit from Notre Dame. That's why you got your fucking cheeks clapped versus Stanford, you dumbass. Hale Mendoza sends $2 via Super Chat, says, odds on Marcus Freeman surviving the season at Notre Dame. 95%. They're not going to fire him. Thank you for the Super Chat, Mendoza. They're not firing him. True Louisianimal says Jeray Jenkins balled out too. What's crazy, though? Pooh, can we scroll down just a quick sec to the – he only had 2 catches. But see, here's the thing with Jeray, though, man. Jeray has the most critical catches at every given moment. If you need a third down, I'm throwing it in number 10's general direction. He always comes down with the crucial catch. Always, man. I'll tell you what he did do, though. That 51-yard run that Josh Williams broke out. Let me make sure I got this, because I remember starring this in my handy dandy notes. Hold on, let me show you this. Y'all think, Pooh Bear, these are my notes from tonight. 7 pages worth of notes. The Josh Williams 51-yard run, guess who had the key block to spring him? Jayden Jenkins. Guys, there's just some things you don't teach. Like there's some things that guys just have in them internally you can't teach. That is why Jayden Jenkins will probably be an NFL guy. John says, can we rematch Tennessee with this offense? Can you rematch them? Yeah. Will you win? No. It's my opinion. You want the God's honest truth? It's my opinion. By the way, shout out to our good buddy Jean-Paul Bourgeois for the hat. Pooh, this hat might look goofy. It's the most comfortable hat I've ever worn in my life. I could sleep in this fucker. These hunting hats, shout out to our good friends over at First Light for the hats. Fantastic, man. Fantastic. Don Trail, what you laughing at, bro? John B says, congrats to LSU fans from the Vol fan. Okay. Thank you, John. And congratulations to you today, too, man. Big victory for the Vols. Glad you beat the Gators. Man, I got to be honest, Pooh. I had both screens open. I'll be honest. I was watching the LSU game the whole time, but I had the Vols Bama game right there. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. Look, man, tell me that doesn't feel a lot like LSU 2019 in a sense. I don't know if they have the team to do it. Like, I really don't. I don't know if Hendon Hooker is Joe Burrow. I don't think Hendon Hooker's Joe Burrow, actually. I kind of know that. But, man, Hendon Hooker's fucking unreal. Guys, Hendon Hooker's your Heisman Trophy frontrunner. Again, Tennessee's going to be – I said this earlier in the show. Tennessee's going to be my number one team Monday morning. When we do the Believe Top 10, they're my number one team. Booth Bear says, have I not been saying Tennessee was going to beat Bama despite Bryce Young being back? No, you said they're going to lose. You were like, Mr. Blake, you were so right. All right, I can't cap. I'm not a liar. I just love playing around. C. King says, if Jack Bash doesn't muff that punt, we have a blowout. I kind of agree, man. God, as bad as I hate to say that about Jack Bash, guys, I agree. Glenn Gilho says BTJ got robbed. Yeah, he did get robbed. I'll agree with you there. He did get robbed. I can't, it's a bad thing to take away from him. Bayou Chubbs, what's up, Bayou? He said Jayden Daniels should be just as comfortable throwing the football down the field as he was on the one play when he knew he had the offside penalty in his back pocket. Yeah, you can't ever be as Bayou, I love you, brother. You can't ever be as confident as that when you know that you have a free play. Shout out to Jayden, though, for getting he knew. They were in their bags of tricks tonight, man. They were in their bag of tricks. Hey, Pooh Bear, did we have a Florida fan said F this team? Go. I don't know what this means. I just saw it on Facebook. It's from Preston Walsh. Apparently, the Florida team is like reeling. Oh, man. I just saw this on Twitter. Apparently, Kayshon, Boutte, and Brian Kelly were hugging at the end of the game. Fuck. All right, man. Okay. Y'all keep calling that motherfucker an asshole. Y'all keep saying Brian Kelly sucks. I dare you. Chelsea on YouTube says, how do I get girls? You grow a bigger dick. Blocked. I hate people who come in here starting stupid shit. Arlen Blackwell says Jayden balled out. Wide receivers as a whole balled out. Running backs had key runs. Our line got the yard when they needed it. They got more in the yard when they needed it, my brother. I mean, Pooh Bear got it off. I mean, 179 rushing yards, guys. That's more than that. I mean, they clapped cheeks tonight. Look, I got to be honest. Here's another one. Charles Turner, I'm sorry. Charles Turner went off tonight against a 415-pound man. I called Charles Turner out this week, and Charles Turner responded. Shout out to Charles Turner. Your center, Charles Turner, had a hell of a night. Because you probably, if you've watched this show long enough, you know how much I watch center playing the position collegiately. Like, look, man. Yeah, so one of the Florida players, look at this. He's flipping. I guess is he flipping off and saying F this team? Yikes. Yikes. Oh, see. Oh, God bless it. See, King, this is why you're one of my best friends in the world. He said, F you, Stephen A. Smith. Fuck you, Stephen A. Smith. God, so right. Stephen A. Smith talking that shit. Actually, I'm about to tweet that shit right now. Hey, at Stephen A. Smith, you ain't talking that shit about Brian Kelly. Now is ya? Hashtag AYS. Tweet. All right, this is it right here. Thank you, Pooh, for bringing that up. Can you play it from the beginning? All right, here we go. God, man, you gotta love it. Pooh, you gotta love it. Hey, Pooh, I'm about to have a Terrell Owens moment. Oh, and they hug at the end. Oh, man. Oh, man. Hey, Pooh. It's my quarterback. It's my head coach. I'm telling you, man, LSU's going to be fine, bro. LSU's going to be fine. Stephen A. Smith from ESPN inside the YouTube chat says, what did you say? I said you's a bitch. That's what I said. Sharon says, I can't stand Stephen A. Smith. Bayou says, Blake must be sipping on something tonight. Man, my man is good and loose, just like Jayden Daniels was tonight. I got some Hazel Baden bourbon whiskey. Pooh, I am lit like a Christmas tree the day before on Christmas Eve. Jeff says, Blake, we got to mention Will Campbell. I think Jeff is 1,000% right. He says Will Campbell was beasting tonight. I thought guys, I got to be honest. I honestly didn't think Will Campbell would play as good as he did coming out of the hospital a week ago. I'm going to read this. But this is fucking wrong. God damn it. Pooh Bear on YouTube says, worst hairline, Stephen A. Smith or Daniel Williams from the Golden Boot Pod. I'm going to say Daniel, dog. That bitch back here. That bitch is back there, man. That shit. All right. Can I make a joke with nobody getting mad? That shit is receding like Hillary Clinton, so many years ago. I'm just joking. It's a joke comedy. Don't get your politics in here. Or Trump or Biden. I don't give a fuck. I really don't give a fuck. I shouldn't have said that. Stephen A. Smith says, it's all good. I love the show. Me and my hairline. Poor Phillies. Oh, God, it feels so good to win, doesn't it? Ryan C. on YouTube sends $4.99 via Super Chat. God, my abs are hurting. I ain't got no abs. He says, in hindsight, I think it's always been a mental thing for Jayden Daniels. I agree with that. Not an ability thing. Finally build some chemistry with our wide receivers. Yeah, and look, you gotta build that chemistry, man. You gotta build that chemistry. Adam on YouTube says, Blake, what do you make of our matchup next week against Ole Miss? I'm liking it. I like it, but man, you just got to be consistent. You know, like if you play like this, look, and let's just be truthful. Ole Miss struggled today, man. Ole Miss struggled last week against Vandy. You can beat Ole Miss, guys. So I know we have 585 people on the streaming service, and then another 400 of you listen to us on the radio right now. You can fucking beat Ole Miss next week. You can fucking beat Ole Miss next week. Hey, by the way, since I got all of you in here, if you're going to the Saints game tomorrow, DM us. Me and my buddy Trey from GM Varno and Sons are going to be down there. So if you're going to be at the Saints game, we're going to be down there pretty early. Hit us up. Big Jake says, Will Campbell took off the hospital gown, put on a helmet, and then wrecked Swamp. I like that. I like to play on words. He did. And again, I'm very shocked. I'm very, very shocked. I mean, guys, he a week ago today, he was in the hospital. Shit, he got released from the hospital on Monday. I can't believe Jayden Daniels. Pooh, you couldn't have told me. If you would have told me Jayden Daniels would have scored 6 touchdowns today, I probably would have called you a liar. I'm just being honest. The man had 3 through the air and 3 on the ground. He went off. Sharon says he also great in high school. He graduated from my son's high school. Okay. Chris Baker says, can't wait for the day that we don't listen to that moron McElroy broadcast our games. Man, I got to be honest. Here's a hot take that nobody's going to like. I think Greg McElroy's not that bad. I know that he was kind of a little bitter about the Jay Ward hit. But, guys, Jay Ward can't do that, though. Right? Like, Jay Ward hit him low. Jay Ward can't do that, guys. I'm sorry. You can hate me for all you want to. That's a bad play by Jay Ward. And then the one along the sidelines that Jay Ward had where he, the guy's out of bounds and he throws him. You can't do that. But I will say this. How many times I should probably count how many times I say Jay Ward open field tackle. Talking about a guy, yes, he made some mistakes here tonight, but Jay Ward, man, he's probably one of our best tacklers, if not our best tackler on the team. Jonathan Broussard said McElroy is way better than Danielson. Yeah, he is. And look, I think Greg knows what he's talking about, man. Now, is he a little biased on some things? Yes, but I like Greg. I do. And look, I've had a lot of conversations with Greg throughout the years, at least. I think the last time I talked to him was like 6 or 7 months ago. Greg's a good dude, man. He's a really good dude if you meet him. He doesn't big league you, though. I thought, he would big league people. He doesn't. He's a good dude. Rob Boudreaux says, BK first coach to win in the Swamp in Auburn and at Auburn at LSU ever. Yeah, Zach brought that step up earlier, and thank you for the super chat. That's insane. American Patriot says music is in whiskey and wine crying. Yeah, number one, I don't give a fuck about whiskey and wine. Number two, I don't give a fuck about music. I think I went ahead and blocked him too. Mark Kemp says Jayden Sphere has always been making a mistake and getting pulled after a close race to be the starter. It's never been because he didn't have the capability. Yeah, and I think Brian Kelly just had to tell him, man, look, we're not going to pull you. We're not going to pull you. And they're not. You can't. Guys, it doesn't really matter what he does the rest of the season moving forward. I mean, you got to play him because he has that type of ability. Pooh says official in a LSU page tweeted it out. It's a true stat. Okay. That's insane, Pooh. That's one hell of a fucking stat. C King says, hey, Blake, what about Cory Raymond's DBs? They're going to be like what Eli Apple's going to be tomorrow. Toasted. Roasted. Cory Raymond's not as good as y'all think he is. Cory Raymond just had a lot of good players. I promise you. I just ran inside zone. Says, how about Damian Ramos with a clutch kick? How about the entire special teams unit, man? I mean, you got to give it to them. When the game was on the line, they prevailed. Oh, I got to get to this one. This is probably one of the best comments of the night. Don't miss it. Don't lose it. Now I lost it. Pooh Bear, if you find one, there's a comment in here about Makai Wingo. It shouldn't be too far up. Oh, here it is. Kevin on Facebook says, what a pickup Makai Wingo was. Shit. Bro, that dude was all over the place tonight. And look, I got to be honest. In a night where Jaquelin Roy really struggled, okay, he had some big plays late, but Makai Wingo, man. Freshman All-American, man. That's what the transfer portal does for you. And it's such a massive pickup when Mason Smith got hurt. It's such a massive pickup when Mason got hurt. Pooh gives us a score update. 42-35 USC. I saw Jordan Addison got hurt too. Their All-American wide receiver. Rick says Coach Raymond inherited DBU. He did not invent or create it. Exactly right. Jeff says, hashtag ask Blake, how about Jure on punt returns? If he can catch it, but I'd leave Clayton back there for now. If he's going to be the one to catch it, leave him back there. Shit. No moving. Graham Kelly on YouTube says, I'll take that stat even further. Okay. We've only ever beaten both Auburn and Florida in the same year, regardless of venue, 7 times since 1931. Fuck. God, what a stat. Since 2005, this is from Pooh Bear, LSU is undefeated against Florida after a loss on the previous week. How horrible is that? God, we fucking lost to Troy the last time. G-Man said, what happened to Jack Best? They said he's got something with his back. I don't believe that. I think he's got a concussion. Brandon Reed says, when this offense is clicking, they can be one of the best offenses in the SEC. Well, not just that, Brandon. They can be one of the best offenses in the country. I mean, guys, you score 42 points on offense. You can be one of the best. You are one of the best offenses in the country. You do that. All right, let's get to a couple more, and then we'll get on out of here. Nick Chasson says, if we can finish plus in turnover battle next week, I think LSU wins. We just can't go out there and beat ourselves. Agreed. Rick says Wingo is a beast and filled a definite need. Sure did. Brian Crow says Perkins Jr. is going to be special. He already is, Brian. You know what I mean? They got to stop taking him off the field. I get it. You got to find a way to keep him on there somehow, some way. You got to find a way to keep him out there. Marvin Mackey Jr. says no. He walking stiff as F. Jacques Doucet posted it. Yeah, I don't believe that. Watch, Marvin. I'm going to tell you, I don't believe that. Richard says, why was Jack Brass in street clothes? There you go. You know. Adam says LSU versus Florida's record. Wow. 33-33-3. How about that? What a stat that is. Ant Marshall, we'll end this with this one. He says 4 in a row, 5 of the last 6, 8 of the last 10, 10 of the last 13, and tied the series at 33-33-33. Or 33-33-3. How about that? What a stat. All right, guys, we'll see y'all Monday. Thank y'all for joining us on this postgame show. Go Tigers. Happy for the win. I'm sure Pooh Bear and them will be doing a Twitter Spaces later on. Y'all can go check out. Until then, y'all have a good night. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out, Girl Scouts.